Welcome. What's a guan? Welcome to the idea of where we explore the noise and nuance and everything in between. I am Mike.
And I have no authority to speak on hip hop, apparently.
Ever. We
Apparently.
are not going to talk about poetry. And this is the space where culture, creativity, and conversation collide. What's going on, Bassey?
Nothing. Snowed in for the last few days. It's
Snowed
taking
in.
a toll. I can, if I choose to be home for a week, that is my decision. But if I'm forced to be home for a week because of snow, I don't
Yeah.
like that. I don't like that.
I've seen a couple people and I couldn't really verbalize it, but something about this snowed in felt different. Even in North Carolina, like we was snowed in, but we had, a little bit of ice, a little bit of snow. Um, but something about it felt more damning or damaging than the weather itself. And someone put words to it and said it kind of felt like COVID. It kind of felt
Oh my
like
God.
the
Yes.
beginning
Yeah.
stages of COVID, where it was like the medical issue, right? The issue that kept us in the house, but then there was also, all of the things happening in the news at the same time, and we were kind of forced home to watch it all and
That's very accurate.
deal with the
Yep.
play-by-play, and that can't be any more accurate than everything we're experiencing now. This has been a hell of a week in the news, hell of a week in the culture. And we had a great episode last week that garnered a lot of commentary, to say the least. So we're going to talk all about that today and just continue to support the show. We are the Idea Pod on all socials. Send us a little email, comment, whatever. We are the Idea Pod at Gmail. And just continue to share. And what's crazy is we had the most engagement on all platforms, but the lowest, according to the numbers of folks that actually listened to the whole episode, it was the lowest.
Because people probably just watch the clips and
You know what I'm
opinion on
saying?
the clips. That's what happens.
Which like you got to do it. You got to put clips out. You got to, bring people in. But then also it is it's interesting. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to that. But we had another killing, and we're not going to, every podcast, every time you turn on the news, that's all they're talking about. And I feel like maybe we could not put a different spin on it, but just we're not going to do the play-by-play like everybody's done. But just, what's your, I don't know, feeling after it? Just how are you processing it all? Because it just, I don't know. We talked about kind of feeling like it was the end of days on our previous two episodes ago. And it's continuing to feel like we are running straight forward into a civil war. And that's not hyperbolic at all on my end. How are you processing all this?
Okay, you said that before. You said that a civil war between whom and
I have a sense that the reason why, I don't really do names. I can't remember the name, but the guy that is leading ICE, that
Craig
came out, that came out with the uniform looking
Donnie.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's stepping down or being removed from his position. He's going back to California. Half of the force is being taken out of Minnesota. And so when I said a civil war, I'm thinking that it's going to be between different levels of the establishment. So I'm thinking like between police on the ground and not like the police force, not like the whole police force against the whole ICE force. I think it's going to be a rogue cop, a rogue law enforcement official in a local context that ends up shooting, fighting, killing something, one of these fake federal agents in ICE, Custom Border Patrol, whatever it is. And that's going to start something more. So I don't know if necessarily the civil war right now is going to start. It might not start from like the people, whoever they are, and ICE, but I think it's going to be something internal because there's a lot of infighting, and I think there's a slow awakening that these folks in ICE are not trained. They're not, authorized to be doing what they're doing. And I think folks that are actually authorized and trained aren't up for that shit.
Is it like the, because I have had to make it a point not to get too, like, into things because I'll spin out. Actually, I
Mhm.
told you that I was on this whole, like, Shador Sanders
Yeah.
kick for the longest, and I was, like, focused on that, and then there was some press conference or some after game thing that they do, the reporters, and one of them asked him, "Oh, you've been getting a lot of support," because I'm going back, but, like, a lot of people, "You've been getting a lot of support from the president, da 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 da," and he was like, "Yeah, it's really cool." I was like, "Ah," and we're done. And we're done. And I went and, like, I erased my history, so I'm not getting any, like, just to clear my algorithm because I can't do that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I can't hear you support or say anything nice about that guy or not say anything bad about him,
Mhm.
or not to denounce the stuff that's going on, even though this was interviews from, like, 2 months ago, but still, like, that's as far as I can go because the more when I start reading into it and I start looking further into it, it turns into this, this spiral that I just cannot afford to step into
Yeah.
because I remember all of the times over the last 20 years, I'm 30, going back to Amadou Diallo, where it's just like, how many times are we gonna keep going through this? I honestly, as naive as I am, thought that George Floyd would be the last. And apparently he's just the last black guy. Now they're now it's just
Right.
white people that they're out here killing. And that is was James Baldwin said, um with James Baldwin, he said, what they do to us in the dark or what they do to us in the light, they'll do to you in the dark.
Mhm.
And that's basically what's happening now, but now it's the light too. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot to process, and there's so many correlations here, so many connections to evil, and that sounds like when we talk about everything that's happening now, it's easy to put all of the things that are happening into these boxes of, like, good and bad,
But
right?
it's evil
But
though.
there's no other way because I feel like, again, the insidious nature of everything that's happening right now is, like, you can't turn away from, like, you can't deny that what is happening right now is intentional, right? Is
And it's
planned,
yeah.
right?
And
It's
it's objectionably evil and awful because the people who are trying to like the people who've always tried to make sense of the fact that ICE exists or that they're existing this way they sound even crazier in a sense.
right. Oh,
Like when
yeah.
you're using a 5-year-old kid to bait his father out of the
Right.
house so they can arrest the kid and the father, and then the 11-year-old brother comes home from school and there's nobody there's like, how is that okay to you?
Right.
How's that okay? And the people who are still trying to make it okay, not that they're unhinged. There's something wrong with you.
Right. Right.
You're
And the
not normal.
politicians that are, you know, that are supporting it, whether blindly or just to stay on the side of Trump, it's like, it's all evil, right? It's good and bad. And this is just a really bad, just a bad time. Sometimes I guess just a simple explanation is all that it's worth. You know, I don't think we talked about this last week or the week before when it was a popular story. You know, we're talking about culture. You were talking about Shador Sanders. And then you mentioned today, which I was going to bring up, like, his loose support or on someone like benevolence to Trump, right? And we had Stephen A couple weeks ago, right? You know what has been uh on my timeline today and yesterday, which this was not on my bingo card, that Cam Newton is a warlock. This is I'm trying to say this with a straight face.
A warlock, like a
Yeah, just let that
like
process that like a witch. Like he's
Harry Potter.
yes, like he is like he is a an evil entity and that he has sacrificed his morality and goodness to enter, you know, what do they say when black people get popular? They're in the Illuminati or whatever, right? Like that his humiliation ritual. Like this is I can only repeat this. This is not something I made up, right? That his initiation into the dark side happened when he fumbled the ball in the Super Bowl. It was a big play, when he was in the Super Bowl 10, 12 years ago. And that was his humiliation ritual. And I think he got into a car accident around that time as well. And folks have been showing like how his image and imagery has changed, how he presents himself. He was super clean cut. You remember Cam Newton was like Adonis, like the black Adonis, right? Like he was like this guy. And then he became what he is now, where he's dressing, like how he dresses. I don't know what you want to call it. And that
18 baby mamas.
Yeah. And then he's, and then there's always this loose connection or benevolence towards the administration. And so a few weeks ago, I'm making a lot of ties right now. I don't know if I'm going crazy, but at the end of the year, in our December episode, and I was saying like there seems to be like this. I think I misappropriated or said like there's an attack on black men, right? And in the news, we were talking about, I don't know, Diddy. We were talking about all the things, right? But I don't understand how, maybe it's my algorithm, that any time a black man recently gains some sort of prominence, there's this meteoric rise to success and everywhere. And then there's this like something that happens that not just tarnishes their reputation, but like completely obliterates it. I don't understand how they're all black. I don't understand how many of them that we see are black men. It just doesn't represent the sample size of black men that we know are over there, right? We know that there's, 20%, 18%, whatever, of black men that are on the other side of, political left and right. But what we're seeing in connection to the administration is like so many prominent, influential black men that just, like, how could you say something so stupid? How could you be aligned with this? How is this what you're choosing to use as a platform right now when there's so much evil attached to it? So when you know what I'm saying?
Well, I do, but there's a few points. The one that jumps out the most when you're speaking is that I think it's proximity. I have no idea what white people are doing. I have no idea. Every once in a while, they'll float down and I think TikTok is...
It's off right now, right?
It's so off.
It's off. Okay. I'm not on it as much, but the last couple of days, because of our J. Cole stuff, I've been on it a little more, and like my timeline changed like 3 or 4 days ago. Like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah.
Who
people
are these people?
Views, like these random things are popping up. Like it's like somebody said that America bought TikTok.
Yeah.
Which is borrowed time.
Right.
And all of the news and stuff that's coming out, I can almost always tell when somebody's about to talk about something, because if you look at their views, it's like 2 or like, 1. And I was like, oh, it's on my For You page. That means they're hiding it from somebody else. They're hiding it from some like bigger thing. But I feel like I never know what white people are doing because I don't pay attention. So whenever I think about things in terms of blackness and black people and what black people are doing. And so I've learned over the course of a couple of years, but like I've learned that they're doing their own shit. Like they've got their own group of, I'm sure somebody on some white friends have a podcast talking about what is Elle Fanning talking about. Like they're like they're very confused about, why, I don't know, some white person isn't doing something. My point is that I feel like it is proximity, number one. There's that. We only see black people and we can only judge what's going on based on what we can see, which is black people. But my sister explained this to me a couple of years ago when Trump was first coming out and all these like football players were like supporting him and, whatever. And she said that people need to understand that when it comes to these athletes, especially these like the black athletes who come from like poverty or come from less than ideal backgrounds, for lack of a better term, they're pretty much raised by their coaches. Like a lot of them live with their coaches, and in order to get to practices on time, in order to they go home to on holidays with their coaches, like stuff like that. So they're pretty much being raised by these white coaches. And so they're not only are they raised by the coaches, but they're also insulated because they play sports at a high level. And so their point of reference to the world are these white people
Whatever theirs
that have
are.
either taken them in and shown them kindness,
Save them,
and saved
quote
them.
unquote. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when you think about, like, just think about our boys. If we weren't around, and even we'll talk about that another time. And they're around their soccer friends, and they have to spend like so many time, like they have to go home to vacations, and they can't come home for the holidays because it's too expensive to be home for just 2 days, and all that stuff. I think it's going to change because of NIL. I think NIL is it's another reason why people are so anti NIL, because they can now afford to do the things that they used to rely on their coaches for, or rely on the school for, or rely on the donors for. But yeah, so a lot of their politics are shaped by that isolation, and then indoctrination by these people that they hold to high regard. So I understand it on that terms, and then further making them like multi-millionaires. And so they're even further moved away from, like, it has to be a conscious decision. They have to go out of their way to do this. And I don't think that a lot of them are inclined to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something. There's definitely a narrative that is not a narrative. There is a correlation between the wealthy in general, like the loose wealthy, right? Or, upper middle class Black men whose there's something happening. They're not happening. There is something that is afoot where there's a morality clause almost that a lot of wealthy, high profile Black men almost see the need to take this, like there's a moral high ground almost, right? That's like, maybe it's aligned with whiteness, or maybe it's, a lack of, a self-actualization, whatever it is, like a disconnect from their people, that make it so that their voice, right? Like their messaging is like the same as like the bootstrap messaging, right? Like you can, if you work hard, if you if you train all day, I'm thinking athlete, right? You train and you get in the gym and you wake up and you got to pray, and you got to, every time you get an award, it's got to be all glory to God. And it's like this, it's a playbook almost, right?
Yeah.
That aligns with the right. And it seems as if anybody is aligned with the right now, that you have to like honor the administration.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like an where before it used to be unspoken, right? Like, I don't know who Michael Jordan supported, for better or for worse, right? Like,
famously, he said that Republicans buy sneakers too.
Right. Who knows where Magic Johnson's political leanings lied, or where Mike Tyson,
But here's the thing, though, you kind of know.
Say it. Okay.
Kind of know.
Yeah.
Like people, I want to go back to not knowing exactly, because I can assume things. Let's use Magic for instance. Magic could be MAGA for all I know. But I also know that he pours a lot into the Black community, and he does a lot in terms of like uplifting and upholding like Black excellence, and he produces a lot of shit. Like, there's a lot of things where like, charitable donation by the Johnson
Remember Magic
family.
Johnson movie theaters?
Yeah, they still here in Largo.
How important those were at that time, and like
because the movies that they chose to show. So stuff like that I think is important, and I'm not fully in the place. I call it like I'm not in a TikTok politic where it's like none of that matters as long as this thing happens, nothing else you do. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think I am here now where I'm vacillating between where I was before, which is just don't say anything.
Just don't say
anything. I also don't want you to derail your life speaking up for things that aren't going to change. So you see what I'm saying? So I have like this weird kind of like I was going back to Shador. I was like, okay, so technically he could have been like, fuck that nigga, I don't care who he supports.
Right.
Meanwhile, this is like literally his first starting game. Like, and then now he's on the bench forever. Like, I don't want that
Right.
I don't want that either. Yeah. But I also don't want you saying nice things about the nigga. Like, just be like, oh, that's cool.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the, and this is the part where I feel like race and gender come in. Like as Black men, right? Again, maybe stereotypically, maybe not, but no one's going to tell me what I can say and can't say. Like I'm speaking like on the universal their behalf, like on behalf of Black men. Ain't nobody going to tell me what I can and can't say. You know, if I want to give to my community and support and love Black people and vote for whoever, I can because I'm a man. Right. And I don't follow the trends. I don't follow what everybody else says. So there's like this, you know, and I think it's a play on, I think that the powers that be, and I'm speaking kind of conspiracy, but kind of specific based on what we're seeing, right? Like this is, it's evident that the powers that be know that I can get a Cam Newton, right? Who is a preacher's kid, who, you know, was an immaculate athlete at one point in time, had no marks on his record, to support this ideal if we present it to him like it's free thought, right? That whole free thought thing. Like I could, you know, that we heard during Hillary's run, during Kamala's run, like I'm not going to support this person just because they're a woman or just because they're Black. You know, she let people free that had, you know, she put people in jail that had drug charge, you know, all that shit. And like,
She arrested parents when their kids were out of school.
I only heard that from Black men. Like at that time, when it was being, when the media was taking on that narrative, I saw that narrative coming from mostly Black men. Now, if you think about the entire social media universe, the entire internet, the entire media landscape, Black men are such a small portion of who intakes and who shares, you know, in that space. And for it to take up so much air, even if our algorithms are narrow to the Black experience, for Black men to be given that kind of platform and consistently that platform where I can know that Stephen A. Smith said something about Jasmine Crockett and he's going to double and triple down. And then, yeah, it's just like, what are these niggas doing? Like, who owns you, bro? Like, who is paying it? And is the money worth it? Is the money worth it to bastardize your name and your reputation to get a few extra dollars to align yourself with this administration, this insidious, evil, bastardly administration? Is the money? Is it money? Is it status? It's just, I just don't think it's as black and white as it's just who I support. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just,
I think that it might also be, and this is again probably doing more work than necessary, but I also wonder if it's like this thing where people are being told or have been told for like the longest time, shut up and dribble. Like
mm-hmm.
you're you know, you're just a dumb jock. I guess that's the stereotype. And so when they get this opportunity to feel as though that they are thinking for themselves and there's no reason why a Stephen A. Smith or a Cam Newton or Shador or whoever, where they feel as though they deserve a space to talk about these things. Like on the one hand, like I hate to be a shut up and dribble kind of person, but like makes you, aside from being in the public eye, what gives you, I would rather them say, I don't know. I don't know. This is not something that I'm well versed in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm learning like you're learning or something like that.
Yeah.
As opposed to stepping up in front. Like I'm all over the place. I'm so tired. But like I'm not gonna get on camera and talk about football because I watched a bunch of TikToks about like the greatest catches and da-da-da. I cannot speak on any kind of authority when it comes, not even soccer that's the sport that I've spent the most time thinking about and looking at. But I would never join an organization or have somebody call me and be like, hey, do you want to speak about the World Cup? What am I going to say about the World Cup? I don't know shit about the World Cup. Right. And I feel like a lot more people should be like, I don't know shit about X, instead of giving themselves the voice and authority to talk about whatever it is that they know that they have absolutely no reason or not even expertise, but like no outside, no perspective,
yeah.
no perspective.
No perspective. And
I understand when somebody's like, I'm all over the place. I'm going to tie it in. Remember when Simone Biles' husband was like, I never heard of her. Like, I didn't know who she was when she approached me. And people were like, how can you not know? I was like,
Right.
these people eat, sleep, dance, shit, their sport. They're only thinking about their sport. They're not thinking about anything else. So
Yeah.
we can't fathom the fact that they're only hyper focused on this one thing. Let them be hyper focused on one thing. I salute that. Please just only focus on catches and throws and whatever. And don't talk about anything else, for God's sake.
But you know what's crazy too? I think you brought up something that I think should be highlighted, is that there's a connection between sports now and politics, but not in the way like Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like not like that, where they were vocal and active, or where Muhammad Ali said, I'm not going to go to this war, active, iconic figure at that time. But I think everything is entertainment now. Everything is entertainment. And one, that's just a really scary space to be in. But two, you get people that are good journalists, maybe, right? Or that are good orators, or they can talk good, right? Like they talk good. And because politics has become so entertaining, and this might be the insidious undercurrent of this administration. I mean, Tupe Fiasco, as you call him, was a reality star, right? And if you look at his trajectory of being on TV every week, had a highly rated show in whatever the show was, the You're Fired show. Yeah, The Apprentice, merging into his presidency. And because his politics are so vile, but so like tangible, right? Like when Clinton and back in the day, Pat Buchanan's and, you know, Rush Limbaugh, like that generation of politicians, the common person didn't understand what a veto was, what a filibuster was, or what or voting lines and zone. Like we didn't have a universal understanding of it. Someone is at the front door. Oh, did you hear that? Someone's at my front door. And now, because the news is on TV every day and folks are like breaking it down in such ways, it's like politics is sports. It's all this, like, it's all one big piece of entertainment. And this was another revelation when watching the film, watching, what happened with, what was his name? Pretty? Thomas Pretty? What was his first name?
Alex
Pretty. Horrible with name. Alex Pretty, right? What'd you say?
Jonathan Cole.
Right, exactly. Beyond what we saw with Good, the woman that was shot 2 weeks ago, with Alex Pretty, it was like they were analyzing every movement and every freeze frame like they were analyzing a football game. You know what I'm saying? It was the same kind of dialogue. Circling right here, you can see his body turn to the left, and that means that his trajectory was. I'm like, they're talking about football.
They did that with the lady that was shot, Renee.
Good.
I think, yeah, they did it with her too. Where they even had the same like kind of sports analysis thing where they took the thing and like they
freeze framed it. Yeah,
they freeze framed, but then they like shifted the camera so they could see like the. I was like, this is
like, what are we doing?
There's an article that I read about 10 years ago that talked about how politics became gamified, where they gamify politics so that it fell into like the ESPN type of way of looking at things, and people start to fall into the sports team of it. I am team left, I am team right, I am team blue, team whatever. And it does a disservice to people, because you're no longer thinking about things as parts of a whole. You're looking at like, not parts of a whole, but I remember in elementary school not liking Ronald Reagan. I didn't like him. My parents didn't like him. I don't like him either.
Yeah.
Actually, now you think about it.
Right.
And then as I got older and learned about like just different politics and different ideology, of course, it starts from the parents. My parents are super, super Democrats, super Democrats. But then when you start to learn, it's like, oh, I don't like that he said this. He sounds a little racist now that I know what racism is. Like, all that kind of things. And then going into our 20s when it was George W. Bush, we're like, I don't like that guy.
Mhm.
I don't like that he did this. I don't like he did that. But I
Mhm.
didn't feel personally victimized or
Mhm.
afraid
Yeah.
of the people who did like him. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't
Right.
feel I
Right.
didn't feel like a threat, or I didn't feel like it was dangerous to be around the people who liked him,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Now, I can't say that. There's too much that's tied around, like you said, tied to this one person that is horrible. Like if it's not Gaza, then it's arresting children or throwing children on a bus by themselves because their parents didn't register them, or whatever. It's being okay with the purely racist, they will not replace us ideology. Like, you're okay with all of those things because if these things are so heinous. It's not like, oh, I don't want my taxes to be raised. Oh, I'd like for gas prices to be lower, which is what would happen previously. Now it's like you are co-signing some of the most heinous acts.
I don't want black and brown people around my neighborhood, right? That's the difference from what it used to be, what politics used to be, at least for the masses, right? It was
Yeah, yeah,
job
yeah, yeah.
security. It was, crime and law enforcement. It was schools, education, healthcare, like shit that everybody's impacted by. But now it's like an undercurrent of I hate anyone that is not a white American.
Yeah,
Like
a white
that's
male American.
white male American. That's essentially what is this administration is supporting. So you're not a politician. I'm not a politician. We can clearly see and find extensive data to support that that is what this administration stands for, right? I feel like at one time early on, it was like, what's this Trump guy about? He's not really qualified for this job, but all right, do no harm, no foul, kind of, right? But we've seen, especially in the last, not even this year, but even the election coming into the year, we know exactly what this guy stands for, what his administration stands for. So how can anyone, even if you're the most staunch Republican, even if you don't trust the government, because that's what the Republican Party is is supposed to be about, right? Like small government, right? Like, so even if that is where your political ideology aligns with small government, and I'm conservative, I don't want to spend too much. I think that the government gives too much money to nonprofits. Okay, we can talk about that. If we know what this administration really stands for, then how can anybody black, anybody support and encourage and be benevolent towards that? I literally cannot understand it. I can understand a lot of shit that I don't agree with. I can see why you would go to this church. All right, it's not for me, but I can see why you would live in this community, or I can see why you would send your kid to this school. But supporting this administration when you're a person of color, when you're LGBTQ on any level, when you're a non-English speaker, when you're a not man, whatever you are that's not white and not male, like I literally can't understand it. And we are both educated. We are both able to see sides of the story we can't agree with. And I don't get it. I literally can't understand it. And that to me is the part that keeps me up at night. Because beyond how can you support the president, how can anyone look at what he's doing and justify it? I, it is beyond me. I don't get it. I
I don't
really
get it
don't get it.
either.
I
I
really
don't get
don't
it
get it.
either. I don't know. I don't get it. I think it's a wrap for America. I've been saying that for the last couple of years, but they're killing white people now and they don't care. Like there are white people justifying the killing of white people because the white people believe in things that they don't believe in, or I don't, it's a wrap. I don't even know. Like I can't even process it fully. I don't understand why people would allow it, or why they would, again, just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, say nothing.
Is it
Why
as simple as
give any of the
people
most
can't
passive.
admit that they're wrong? Is that what this is
I think
about?
a lot about it. Yeah, I think so. I think it's that, and I think it's also what I said earlier, which is like they don't want to be perceived as being stupid, and now their opinion matters, and so
Like double down on it.
they're gonna double down, go
Well,
down with this shit.
yeah, yeah,
Especially people who aren't really affected by it. Like they're insulated for and again going back to what you said, like who else in this country can say that the whole bootstrap mentality works, but sports people and entertainers.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're the I worked hard and got my people out of poverty, and
Mm-hmm.
I put my nose down and I worked, and this is
I
where we are
grinded.
now. The American
Mm-hmm.
dream. The American
Yeah.
dream exists. Clearly, I'm a living example is what I can hear them saying. So I see where they would think that, but then again, not now. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Not now.
even let's say up until January 2026.
Right.
Everything from January 5th to now, come
Yeah.
on. Like you've got to see this a little bit differently now. You have
Right.
to. You have
Right.
to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Well, we're, it's exhausting to experience. It's exhausting to be living in this right now. And I even have a problem with like, it's hard for me to digest content that is. Someone is at the front door. Someone's at my front door because today is no school and they have asynchronous day. And so my daughter decided to bring her friends over here for them to do school together.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. There's
fun.
that. There's that. Yeah. So there's gonna be 5 to 6 screaming 13-year-old girls in my house for the next few hours. So lots of fun on that. Um Now I can't remember the thought I was gonna make. What was I saying? Yeah. Anyway, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to try to process all at once, and we're doing our best. We're doing our best. But bossy,
Yeah.
bossy. Last week's episode, bossy. This is the 40th minute. Last week's episode was not even an episode. It was an episode. We do our thing. It was fun. It was always great, having a debate with you, having a conversation. But the byproduct of our conversation last week got me thinking some things. I'm going to say some things and then we're just going to chat. One, I think J. Cole is the most polarizing artist of this generation. Rapper. I don't think it's Drake. I don't think it's Kendrick. I don't think it's Kanye. I don't think it's whoever. I think it's J. Cole. Last week's, we put a lot. I've been experimenting with putting our content in a lot of different spaces. And so, I put clips of us on IG, on YouTube, even on TikTok, and we got a lot of comments. And it opened my mind to, I don't know if I'm ready to blow up the way I say we want to blow up.
I don't. I'm not.
You know what I'm
Absolutely
saying?
not. Absolutely not. Especially for
Because
free? No.
and we got to be getting paid to get slander like that. But it also gave me some insight into the folks that enter this content creation space and like the mindset that you have to stay sane, to stay connected or disconnected. It's a choice. Like you have to make a choice to be like, I'm going to read these comments and I'm going to engage with it and we're going to have a fruitful debate. Or it's a choice to be like, I can't read this shit. I can't do that. I'm not made for it. And so it gave me a little bit more respect. Respect is a strong word, but it gave me a little bit more insight into, all of these famous folks that we talk about all the time, folks that have some sort of notoriety and what they have to experience on a weekly basis, reading comments or deciding not to read comments, looking at videos and seeing themselves and hearing people have commentary on their commentary. It really gave me it gave me a little pause, but then it was also like, all right, y'all want it? Let's give, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just a really interesting place. And I wonder, as a writer, you've had some exposure to this. You've been in the public eye for a long time. I'm okay with it. Like I'm okay with reading something, be like, Mike, you're a fucking idiot, and being like, all right. sometimes, right? There might be that one comment that comes through and I'm like, what? And it lives with you, like it stays with you, like, damn, they didn't understand me. So like you spend your time thinking like, damn, should I respond back to him? Or like, should I say something? Like, nah, you're given so much brain space, and that brain space turns into actual energy. And you're like, damn, I'll be eating dinner like, shit, I forgot that song. I should have mentioned this song. So it just gave me a lot more like respect or perspective of folks that intentionally enter this space and be like, I'm going to put my thoughts out there and allow people to publicly criticize me respectfully or disrespectfully. Right. Last thing. And then I have so much respect for people that are able to say, hey, Bassey, I didn't agree with that point. Here's why I didn't agree with that point. Bless you. Have a great day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Like, we don't gotta put no salt on it. We don't gotta be like, yo, boss, you a piece of shit for thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it just gave me a little bit more insight on a grander level to what it means to have a platform like this, no matter how big or small our audience is. And to say like, hey, we're open to hear from you. You gotta turn your mind on or off on some level. Like, so what's your thoughts about last week? Do we want to read some comments?
Yeah, we can do that. No, I don't. I think that's part of why I get so hesitant about certain things, because people will go in here, and because people don't know how to have conversations anymore, don't know how to disagree, don't know how to make their point, they'll attack everything but your point, because it's just the nature of just discourse now. Like we're talking about, everything is gamified. It's I like this because it's like, you don't like this because you are, as you know what I mean? Like and they don't even say, what I've seen is they don't even give you a reason why. Like, this is what I like. I hear what you said, that you don't see this. Here's a song that might change your mind. Or there's this bar where he says da 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 da, and then he flips it here that you might like, because I hear what you say you're missing from this. Let me show you what it is you might be missing, as opposed to, you have no right to talk. What do you know about hip hop? Just all these different like non sequitur attacks that are ad hominem. Maybe I don't know, attacks that have nothing to do with anything that's said, which just makes me double down. But just going back, I had to stop reading like my reviews for my books. I had to stop responding to comments or responding to emails, good or bad sometimes, because if I'm going to entertain the good, I also have to entertain the bad, because then I'm just like allowing myself to be my own propaganda machine. Yeah. And I don't want that either. But it's difficult. It's difficult because we're not playing roles like we are ourselves. So when somebody's attacking us, they're attacking us. They're not attacking the character that we play on a movie or on a TV show. So I don't know. I don't like it either. Like, I get very, very stressed out about it in ways that I don't feel like I don't have to do this. Like Nigerians say, it's not by force I podcast. I can go home.
Right.
Fine. You don't want to hear from me? Good. Me neither.
Yeah.
What's next? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, the Cole, I wouldn't say it's a backlash, because I don't think everybody agree with me, disagree with you, or agree with you, disagree with me. I just found it fascinating how people chose to express their agreement or disagreement. I want to read.
But just real quick, even you saying that it's like, as from my standpoint of where I was with the conversation, even these strong opinions are confusing to me, because it's like, where's that in the music? Like the passionate defense. I want to hear the passionate music. Like, I want, like, this is what I'm talking to you about. Like, I want to, instead of you telling me all these things I'm missing, show me where I'm missing it at. Tell me that I missed something or another.
Well, that's something that, and this, I text you this at some point during the week, and I know, I mean, I on what the episode came out last Wednesday, on Thursday, my chat with my music, I have like a music chat group. We were literally texting all day long about the episode, about who likes Cole, who doesn't, why, here's this. And we were doing just that. Here, listen to this song, look at this, right? But I've never engaged in that kind of discourse about any singular artist. Like if we were having that kind of discourse, it was about a group of artists or an event that happened or, oh, did you watch the verses? But I think it was just all fascinating. And to put it lightly, some folks disagreed with you and some folks disagreed with me. I think they disagreed with you more, right? I think they were more fervent in their disagreement towards you, right? And it made me wonder why, because I don't think we were saying just opposite sides of the same thing. J. Cole on this side, I was on this side, you might have been on this side, right? And so part of what you just said, you said, where is this in the music? Like, where is this fervent fire in J. Cole's music? And that's what caused me to think through, like, why do people align themselves with any artist? Or like, why do people go to shows, or why do people say like, man, this song got me through a certain amount of time or got me through this period of my life? And I think it's because, and we talked about it a little bit last episode, is that we individually align ourselves with entities that reflect something about ourselves. And so it's the same reason why if someone says, yo, I'm from Brooklyn, what? I'm from Queens. Fuck Brooklyn. Yeah, well, I'm from Queens, boy. And it's like, what? I just told you where I was from. Like, why is it fuck Brooklyn? You know what I'm saying? But I think it's because I've aligned myself with this area on the map. You've aligned yourself with that area on the map. And whether it's gamification, whether it's like me versus you, whether it's like we can't coexist. It can't be Brooklyn and Queens. It's got to be one or the other. Everything is taken so personally. Mm-hmm. And to me, I don't know if that's dope or if it's whack. I don't know,
I think it's whack.
Because I think that like you want people to feel a way about music and about rap. And you want people to be like, yeah, right, I'm riding or dying for whoever. But then people just take that and just, I don't know, they drive away with it, and it gets a little crazy.
I think it's connected to what we started the episode about, talking about politics and how things are political now. And I listened to the episode all the way through, and I only said, this is what I look for in the artist that I like. That's what I said. I didn't say you shouldn't like him. I didn't say anybody who likes him is the worst person. I even said several times, he can rap. He's a great rapper. That guy can rap. He knows all the rapping things. He can do it. Mm-hmm. What I look for and what I hold him, the standard I hold him to based on what it is that I listen to. That's all I said. So I don't know I didn't think it deserved any kind of, it didn't deserve anything, but I disagree and here's why, or I agree and here's why. I got a couple of I didn't know how to put into words why I didn't like him, or why I wasn't as into him as I thought I should be, or I'm not as into him as, even my brother was like, he started out a really big Cole fan. And then over a couple of years, he was like, nothing moved. I moved, he didn't move. Like, that's the way that he put it. I just don't understand why it was all of this. I'm very, very confused as to why he would be polarizing when I don't think his music is polarizing.
I wanted to read a comment from my boy. He's on the music thread, and because I feel like this is Ryan. I don't know if I haven't shouted Ryan out verbally on the show. Ryan is the guy. On an episode a couple weeks ago, I put some music at the beginning of the episode just to try it out to see what it sounded, and it was Ryan's beat. Ryan's a producer, dope musician. He's not as much into it anymore, but he gave me like a pack of beats years ago when I was doing my first podcast, and I kind of kept with it. But Ryan says, J. Cole not having a point of view is crazy. The whole KOD, Kids on Drugs, that was the album. I was like, what does KOD stand for again? Kids on Drugs. Album is a point of view alone. It's so much to unpack here, but one glaring thing is stating Cole only raps about his life. This is to you because he's an avid listener, so he knows how you talk about Kendrick. Kendrick does too. All Kendrick's albums are concept albums of period of his life. Good Kids, Mad City is Kendrick's growing up in LA from adolescence to young adulthood. TBAP. To Pimp a Butterfly is Kendrick dealing with the fame and success, leaving his childhood behind. Damn is breaking free, but an extension of To Pimp a Butterfly. Mr. Morale is confronting family drama, trauma, and turmoil. GNX, you can finally say he had some fun, but most of that is still wrapped up in beefing with Drake, and the ones who he feels spited him through the beef. This is all on the heels of a whack-a-mole style pop out when he feels the need to control verse the rap world like that. He's trying to be funny. See how easily that was to do? And I love Kendrick. I listen to all the shows, talking about our shows, and as brilliant and knowledgeable as Bassey is of rap and the culture more than me, it just seems she is just severely misinformed and or doesn't understand or care to understand Cole from his persona to discography. Clearly, J. Cole's approach and artistry doesn't resonate with her, and that's okay. But to those folks that don't know or never cared to know about Cole, things like the rap beef back out, unfortunately, now and forever will be, dare I say, MAGA style whataboutisms to Cole's legacy or anyone that dares to defend it. Clearly, I'm one who defends it. That was Ryan's message. I just thought that was really thoughtful and like.
So this is what I'll say to
Yeah.
that. And when I say that he doesn't have a point of view or perspective and that he only talks about himself, I'm saying that when other artists talk about themselves, it's a micro versus macro thing. You can say that Kendrick only talks about himself. Cool. That's sure valid. But what he did in Good Kid, Mad City was talking about his community, using himself as the avatar, using himself as the metaphor for the community. To Pimp a Butterfly, it was using himself as a metaphor for, well, let's say Good Kid, Mad City, people who grew up like him. To Pimp a Butterfly, the extension of what it means to succeed and be a person who succeeds from a neighborhood that he came from and what that means to like, how do you look at the world based on that vantage point? Damn, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but like, he uses the micro to talk about the macro. That's what he does. That's what I'm talking about when he says he's not speaking about anything or he's only talking about himself. I'm talking about literally the story of his life, repeatedly, the story of his life with no twist. I feel like even better, even more so than Drake, I feel like he has the ability to speak about being a biracial kid, growing up the way that he did, choosing Blackness when he goes to St. John's and all of the different things that he did. I want to hear more about that. I want to hear more about his story from the perspective of a bird's eye view. So I understand his story. I don't understand his story because I can read a biography on him. Like, what are you telling me about your life? What are you telling me about your life? And how does that, what you're telling me about your life connect to you? Or how's that interconnected to your community as a whole or your vantage as a whole? And I said it in last week's episode, which is that when he said that he doesn't read or he says whatever he said to No Name, that's what turned me off a lot because I was like, okay, so what are you here for? Why are we listening to you? What are we supposed to get from listening to you? What am I supposed to get? I mean, I'll say we for y'all start writing in again. What am I supposed to get? When it comes to again, what I said, which is what I look for in the kind of artist that people are telling me that he is, I'm not getting that from him.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Based on what you're telling me this dude is, based on what it is that I like from dudes like him, I'm not getting that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't paint a bigger picture to me.
To you. And I think we have like literally over 100 comments of like more than 100. I mean, it's a lot of comments of people.
A lot of comments?
Yeah.
We had hundreds of comments?
Across platforms, yes.
Oh, that's insane. That's insane.
For Cole. So that's what I'm saying. And that's the part that is like super, super interesting to me. Because we've talked about Drake, who I would have thought prior to this was one of the most polarizing MCs. We've talked about a lot of people, and Cole, there's something beyond the music that I think on both sides, right? I think there's something beyond the music that allows Cole to resonate with so many people. And we talked about last week when we were talking about the relatability and the accessibility of MCs, right? And Cole definitely taps into some of that. Somebody says this is in support of what you were saying, Bassey. Carl Nova, I don't know who that is.
Oh, I know Carl.
You know Carl?
London. MC out of London.
Oh, word. That's what's up. What's up, Carl? On Instagram said, I just came to say, shout out to Bassey World. She is 100% right about Cole. I actually think it is crazy to compare him to Yasin Bey, also known as Mos Def. Like Bassey said, he doesn't have perspective or depth or insight like that. Yasin's verse on Thieves in the Night alone is killing J. Cole's whole discography.
Period.
That's a lot. That's a lot. His whole discography. And then they're just like, folks are just saying, like, I agree with Bassey. I don't agree with Bassey. I agree with Mike. I don't agree with Mike. There's a lot of comments. I think most of the comments are good and don't say, they're not like lashing out at you. Folks are just like doubling down on, this is why Cole is dope to me. Go watch this verse. Go watch this performance, which I think at the end of the day is a healthy dialogue. And then thrown in there is like, what the fuck you talking about? You don't know what they give anybody mics now. They can listen to anybody podcast. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And maybe you should. Like, why don't you try it? You know what I'm saying? But somebody said, tell Bossy to go watch Be Free. I was going to send this to you. Have you seen his Be Free performance on David Letterman? Super dope. Tell her to watch Be Free on David Letterman via YouTube. Go listen to the Free Cole World or watch GOMD. Get off my GOMD video. This is why I started this comment, because you sent me the GOMD video, the video with the slave. He's on the plantation.
Plantation.
Yeah.
Making pies and dancing. Yeah.
Go listen to Free World or watch that video. Go listen to High for Hours, Brackets, Changes, Crooked Smile, Friends from the KOD album. There's a few more songs. She's tripping. J. Cole has a point of view. His rallying cry, they let a brother steer the ship and never let that ship and never tell him that the ship is sinking. That's on that song, which is a very long extended metaphor. The Cole hate seems so forced.
Who hates Cole?
I'll say this, Bossy, and I'll be honest with you because you're my co-host, and I know I can say this. I think your perspective was honest, and I don't think your perspective was wrong. I think that it came off it was a little sharp at times. It was a little sharp.
Okay.
I mean, when you're talking to me and we're having a dialogue about it, I'm not taking offense to it. I took offense to it. I say offense. It wasn't personal offense. I just know what I do know about you, Bossy, is that you love hip hop and that you love bars and that you love words and you're a wordsmith. You're a fucking brilliant poet. And so part of when you dropped that, you weren't feeling Cole, last year sometime, I was like, how could you not? Because you're a writer. You're an MC. You are a wordsmith. And so is he. And I would assume that you would be able to read through even the things that you don't like about him, that he doesn't have a perspective or that he's not doing the micro to macro, that you would be able to be like, yo. And that's the part that doesn't always come across.
But that was my point, though. That was my point. I do love hip hop. I do love words. I do, and I think I said that in the episode. I do want to like him. I would love nothing more than to be a huge Cole fan. So when I'm talking about it, I wanted to be very clear because I didn't want it to turn into like, oh, she's just hating. She likes Kendrick. So I was trying to make sure that my points were very focused on Cole and what it is that Cole was doing and what it is that I wanted from an artist like Cole. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to be very clear about that. I didn't want to turn it into anything like emotional. Because I know how people are when Black women especially start talking about like anything and they get too emotional, not passionate, but emotional. It becomes completely clouded.
It's
right?
Something else, yeah.
Right. So I wanted to be very clear that I had like these points that I was trying to make. I might have been a bit aggressive, I will say that much, because I was wanting to make sure that like the points were clear and that I was coming from an informed position and not from a prove it to me. Like what's that thing where people like, Cole sucks, prove me wrong. I wasn't trying to do that. Because I don't think he sucks. Yeah. Like I want to like this nigga. I really, really do. It would make my life so much easier. Because then I could start listening I could be just excited as everybody else is about it. But it just doesn't. And I've seen this performance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
But yeah, I mean, I think we agree Cole is dope. Cole's a dope MC. You want more from him. I think if we had to break down all of the noise around it, Cole's a dope MC. You want more from him. And I think the other side says like reflects everything for a lot of people. He reflects everything that we say we want from an MC, right? He's not a whole lot of flash. He's not rah-rah. He makes good albums. He's a dope MC. He seems humble he seems to be like a good guy. And that's what people say they want from rap, and he embodies it. And I think on some level, a lot of the things we say we want from any aspect of hip hop culture, any aspect of art, sometimes can be boring, right? Like sometimes can be like, um, it doesn't have that charge, right? It doesn't have that whatever it might be. And I agree that as much as I think Cole is as dope as Cole is to me, I can't recall many of his songs, like the names of his songs. And like remember when he said this? Or, in that bar, like people in the comments, they're like, yo, you need to listen to number 8 on KOD and just go from, I don't know all that. I just know that when I listen to Cole, I feel something that I don't really feel when I listen to other MCs of that time frame in that time frame. So
What do you mean by in that time frame? What do you mean?
like from when he came out, 2011 to 2020, that 10-15 year time frame makes me feel something as an artist, as an MC, that not very many other MCs make me feel. And it's not like, yo, I want to learn all the verses. It's just it's an alignment that almost feels like personal. It feels like a personal alignment that I have with Cole. And the artists over time that I love the most, there's been a personal alignment, whether, spiritual, where it's like, damn, like he sees me, I see him, I see the world that he's painting. I appreciate aspects of his struggle. That was College Dropout. That was the alignment, that why there are so many people that support Kanye. We'll talk about him next. But, and I think Cole taps into that in a way that Drake doesn't tap into that, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if Kendrick taps into that because I don't align with Kendrick like that. I think musically, Kendrick does things that other MCs can't do. But in terms of that, like, personal alignment, I don't know if I have that with Kendrick.
So I hear you, and that makes sense to me. And it also, I think, also speaks to why I'm disconnected from it because, and I think, I don't know if I said this over text, or if I said it last episode, the people that I listen to do that to me, do that for me. And like I said, if I take him to that place where those people that I like to listen to live, he just doesn't hold up to me.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying, and I put Lauren into that, where Lauren is my North Star. Like when she popped up on the scene, she made so much sense to me as a young suburban college Black girl who likes to write, was into heartbreak, but also like dope as hell when it came to all of that stuff. I aligned with her. So when Doechii showed up, I was like, oh, I'm ready. I had to temper my expectations. I'll say that. I'm tempering when her album comes out, I'm gonna be right there, but I'm not going to give her that much. Had Doechii come out in 2011, 2012, around that same Cole time, I think I would be that with her because she, to me, fills the same space that I think that Cole fills for a lot of y'all. But because I didn't need a Cole, here it is, because I didn't need a Cole to get there, because I was still listening to the people who got me there, I would feel differently about what he represents. If it was, okay, am I making sense? Like if Doechii was in the Cole position, if Doechii was in the Cole position, I feel like I would feel the way that you guys feel about him. But because Cole is in the place that was still occupied by other people that I still think are dope, it didn't move me. The reason why I like Kendrick though is because he takes it someplace completely different.
Yeah.
I don't have to be anywhere near him. Um, because I wasn't expecting a Kendrick to show up in the first place. Does that make sense? Like,
No, it makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
not
When
expecting.
you're
Yeah,
surprised by something, or when like something like, whoa, where did that come from?
yeah,
And it kind of hits you like a juggernaut almost, like, oh
yeah.
shit. Right? Yeah.
Like even from like the East Coast percent. Like I think both of you and I have an East Coast bias.
Hmm, hmm.
All the hip hop I love it comes from the East.
For sure.
I liked MC Hammer. Yeah,
We
but
all
I'm trying
did.
to think of like somebody from the West. I was like, that's my nigga. Who was it? Nobody else. I didn't know anything really about like the whole West Coast vibe, like the slow. It's not really my thing, right?
Yeah.
So the East Coast is where I align.
Yeah.
Everything, the kind of hip hop that I like, everything. So when Kendrick shows up, I'm like, he's from Cali. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh no, he's from Cali, but he can rap for real. Oh wait, hold on, he can rap for real, for real. So
Yeah.
it occupied a space that wasn't occupied by anyone else because I
Yeah.
had the opportunity to actually listen to him because I wasn't putting him near anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't comparing him to anything other than himself. And then I became more and more impressed with the way that he innovates, the way that he was constantly challenging himself creatively.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm saying. I think
I
Cole
think
doesn't
that's it.
challenge me creatively, and I don't think that he challenges himself creatively. I think
Hmm.
that's the body of my essay.
I think that's real. I mean, I think that is. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment, and I think that what this conversation has highlighted for me is that artistry, right? When folks are music artists, and maybe this changed in around the time Cole came out, or maybe it's been all the same. We can just see it better with social media. But like the artists that speak most to me, that like it's almost, and it sounds so, I don't know, frou-frou, but like that really speak to my heart. When I hear their music, there is like a heart connection. You know who did that to me by surprise? Nipsey. Nipsey
Mm.
surprise again for the same reason like you talk about. I don't like California accents. I don't like that little that twang guitar sound that California people always like boing, booka, booka, boing. I hate that. Like, oh, that bothers me. I don't like funk in my rap. Like, don't do that shit. Like, that's all LA, right? But for some reason, and I think it was because of the messaging, like what Nipsey was talking about cut through the initial sounds of his music.
Yeah.
Then he got with bigger producers and his music became more universal. And I was like, oh, it's like that's my guy, right? But I feel like on some level, we all, like as artists, whatever you do, as a writer, as podcasters, as whatever content you're creating, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to speak to the heart of people and align with them on something more than just the sound of your music, right? And I feel like Cole, more than Drake, and maybe, I don't know, say more than Kendrick because I'm not sure, but Cole just tapped into, oh shit, hold on. I think I got something. Hold on. I don't want to make this analogy. I'll tell you this offline. But damn, I'm all over the place. Hold on. Let me hold on. For good or bad, I think people have learned that when you tap into the experiences of people that feel that they're not heard, even if they are, right?
Mhm.
If people feel that, this music isn't talking to me, this art isn't talking to me, these politicians aren't talking to me, my schools aren't talking to me, my community is, and they don't see me, and there's someone that is able to creep in there, it almost doesn't matter what they're saying or how they're saying it or the package that it comes in. When they tapped into people that feel unheard or that feel disconnected, they got them. They could do and say anything. They can make any kind of music. Kanye can make an album of sounds in Yeezus, and people are like, oh shit, that's just the most amazing shit ever, right? But he already had me. Yes, I think Yeezus is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Because he had me. It doesn't matter. So I feel like for some people, Cole just fills that void and speaks to them in a way that the industry doesn't.
Yeah, and
And
that's
collective.
completely valid. That's
Yeah.
completely fair. That's completely
Yeah.
valid, completely fair. I mean, I feel like I keep circling the same point, but it just doesn't do that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't need to exist for me to. He didn't need for him. He didn't need to exist for me to feel the way that I feel about music.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Whereas, had I been looking for him during that time, he probably would have. And I think, I don't know. I respect everybody's opinion. The moment I could relate that to the gap that was being the gap that was emptied after Lauren left, and if somebody had taken up that position, I would feel differently. I'll concede that point because I saw it happening with Doechii.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. And speaking of which, not Doechii, but
what she do?
Kanye's back in the news this week. You sent me that clip yesterday, and of course, first thing I see when I was like, "Is this real? Like, who did this? Like, where's this coming from?" But for folks that haven't seen, he purchased a 1-page ad in the Wall Street Journal or New York Times. Wall Street Journal, where he essentially explains his behavior over the past few years. He makes publicly, for the first time that I've seen, a connection from his accident at the beginning before his career started, and correlated that to some of the behavior we've seen. I kind of likened it's like CTE and kind of like what we've seen with athletes and how that's influenced or caused the conditions that he said. He talked about mania and being manic, talked about bipolar, and he apologized in order on this sheet of paper to the Jewish folks, saying that, this recent batch of time has caused me to come out as like I'm a Nazi, and I'm not a Nazi. I love Jewish people. Then he follows that line up with, and to the Black community, who's had my back from day one. Everything is blackety black, black. Right. And yeah, that's what he said. And then there's been a response to what he said on every platform available. Interesting. I thought that there were some people, some publications, I wish we could like follow the money, but some publications be like, Kanye apologizes to the Jewish community. And I was like, did he? Like, it was literally a sentence. And then some other people, some other publications were like, Kanye, apologize to the Black community. And so it's just been really, really interesting and a little disheartening to see the response to Kanye.
Yeah.
What do
I've been having this conversation about Kanye. I mean,
you?
it's documented. You
Yeah.
can search my name
Yeah.
on any platform and Kanye, and I've had long and healthy conversations about it. I brought up the car accident a couple of years ago, and people are like, "Oh, you keep making excuses." I was like, "Trauma's trauma. A head trauma is a head trauma."
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I don't understand why people act like mental illness doesn't affect your brain. Like, it literally, like, people like, just because you have a mental illness doesn't mean you behave like, yes, it does. It literally means you behave different, like what you're talking about. It literally means that. It literally means behavior. This is the first time that I've ever heard him publicly, aggressively, emphatically acknowledge his mental illness and acknowledge what it is that it does to him and the ways that he's acted out because of it. The thought pattern, I'm fine. Not only am I fine, everybody else is a problem. I'm going to double, triple down on everything that I'm saying. That's all part of it. I find it disheartening that people are like, oh, he's just trying to get money.
He got an album coming out.
When have you ever got money from saying that you were mentally ill and said some horrible things because of your mental illness? When is that ever accounted to money? He's an independent artist for all intents and purposes. He could drop 1 million albums every single day and it will still do the numbers that he always, because he has this core fan base. Is he trying to change the opinion of the 15% of the people who don't listen to him, would never listen to him, why does he care about that percentage of people if it's not? I think it's sincere. That's what I'm getting at. I think
it felt sincere to me.
I think it's highly sincere. Yeah. I thought so a couple of months ago when he started like sort of slowly, the way that he was, as somebody who deals with mental wellness, the way that he was talking about it, the words that he was choosing, and how careful and deliberate he is with those words, and acknowledging not only like the health part of it, but like the way that it shapes your entire viewpoint, your entire well-being, and how you show up in the world. All of that comes from people who have really looked into it and have really done the work, have really sat down with, or are currently doing the work and are sitting down with people who are helping them navigate these things. The only people who think it's not genuine are the people who don't believe that mental illness exists.
Yeah.
For I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think he's sincere. I'm I've always feared that we would lose Kanye.
We
So for
talked
him to
about
get to
that.
the point where he's having these conversations and he wants to publicly, because he doesn't have to. The
Yeah.
man could just be like, "Oh, my bad," and ride off in the sunset. He doesn't need our approval for that. He doesn't need
Right.
any of that. I think he's sincere, and I hope that people aren't. This is too much to ask, but I hope that people aren't using this as an opportunity to other mental illnesses they always want to. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it does. I think it does sound sincere. Give Bassey props because you were the only person that I've ever heard that was able to sympathize, empathize with Kanye in a way that was authentic and didn't like necessarily excuse his behavior. But I think, and this, we did this on this show, like one of our first episodes. We talked about how you respond to this as a fan. We didn't say this is what you should do, but you highlighted to me that, you know what, I'm taking a break from Kanye right now. And I feel like that was just like the perfect response to me. And because that, in my experience, aligns with how you handle folks with mental illness in the real world, right? Like you have to say, like, if you're in that person's circle of, circle of trust or whatever, of course you can't do that. You gotta, but there are moments, right? When you're caring for someone up close, where they're going through an episode where they're experiencing something and they're saying the most vile shit right to your face, like, and you have to be like, in that moment, hey, I love you, I support you. You're not going to talk to me like that. I can't handle this. I'm gonna give you a little time to yourself, and I'm gonna be back. But I'm gonna go ahead, sit right here in this room, make sure you're safe, put all the sharp shit away, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. And I think that to me is the grace that I can't say Kanye West deserves it, but I think that is how we should have been handling him all along, especially Black people,
Mhm,
right? Like we can't say we care about all of these movements, right? We've talked about the Me Too movement, we've talked about pay equity, we've talked about all of these different issues in the Black community. And then someone is showing us very explicitly that he's not well,
mhm.
right? And then we'd be like, fuck him. I ain't giving him my money. Fuck, I hope he died. Like some of the shit that people have said
Yeah,
about Kanye is just like,
yeah.
God, dog. Like this is a person. His mom died in front of us. Like, he got into a car accident before his career started, and he has a story with all this stuff. But I feel like your narrative around that and being so well versed in mental wellness kind of gives us, I think, a roadmap for how, as a community, we can and should, I think, I'm saying should support Kanye. He's one of us, even if, he's got his feet all over the place. He's one of us. Like he came into this game on some changing the game shit. And we can still say that Trump shit is crazy. Like I don't know if I'll ever forgive him for that time in his life. I also know
But we spoke about that. It was
we did.
days
Yeah.
after he got out of the hospital. Like,
Right.
I'm
Right.
sorry. Like,
Right. No,
this
I
shit It was days after he got out of the hospital. They were the only people who treated him normal because they were just so happy to have him on his side. It I don't know.
But see what you just did? That's what I'm talking about. When people tap into you, when they see you and talk to you in a time and space when nobody else will, your allegiance is, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always thought this, even when the shit was going on. I hated what Kanye did with Trump, and I knew it was as a result of all the things he was experiencing. But they talked to him when nobody else would. They said, hey, this guy's a genius, when we have been saying it all along, but then he started doing crazy shit and we weren't fucking with him. And those white people with the red hats were like, hey, you're a good guy. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, I am. So again, I don't necessarily think we have to explain away the things that he said and done. I think we can say what he said hurt our feelings, what he did hurt us, some of the things that he's done is questionable at least, and say that he was experiencing a literal seismic shift in his brain
Yeah.
and his actual brain that controls his bodily functions. And yes, he was making good music all along. He was still doing stuff in the creative space. And these two things were happening at the same time. And he's saying now it was hard. And he said in the letter that I almost didn't make it. Like I
Yeah.
almost didn't make it out. Like there were times where
I
I did
didn't want to
not
be
want to
here.
live, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I find it very interesting because a lot of the people who are like, oh, that doesn't matter. He did this, he did that. The things that they hold on to as far as what it is that should shift people and the kind of grace or people or that people deserve or who deserves compassion, they find a bar for themselves. They just remove that or move it out of the way when it comes to Kanye, where they're determined not to let any of the human qualities that define people, death, which is a traumatic incident,
Mhm.
um, uh, people are like, "Oh, his mother died 20 years ago. He should be over it." Really?
You
Like,
sure?
are you
Yeah.
sure?
Come on. Yeah, that's
Like,
not an
is that the way you wanna go with this? Because you're saying things about this person that you wouldn't say about any other person because you have a right to treat and whatever. All that to say, um, in 2024, I did a documentary with BBC called The Trouble with Kanye,
Oh, yeah,
and
I
it
remember
had
I
yeah,
never
and then
saw that. I need to watch
it
that.
had the documentary itself is on BBC, and then they also had a series of podcasts called The Trouble with Kanye.
Yeah.
I don't wanna, like, sit here and rehash everything I've ever said about him, but a lot of that is in there. I believe him.
Mhm,
I think that he's important the same way that
mhm,
I think that anybody is important, especially Black people, and I I'm not I think that a lot of people are so arrogant to believe that what he's done has affected them personally. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just what people
mm,
it's stunts and shows because
yeah,
what did he actually what did Kanye do to you that made your life difficult to live?
yeah.
Like I'm sincere, not you, but like sincerely.
Right, to
Like
people, yeah,
what did he do where you feel I'm not going to forgive him ever? I'm not going to forgive anything that he's did. Okay, well, what did he do to you?
yeah,
All I see is what he's done to himself. That's all I've
mhm,
seen. Knowing how physically painful and uncomfortable mental illness is,
mhm,
I have nothing but compassion
yeah,
for not just him, but he is an extension as being, as I've said, the most famous mentally ill person in the world. By extension, how you
yeah,
is how you think about other people.
yeah,
You
especially,
can't separate that.
yeah, other people that are hurting, other people that are experiencing and I think experiencing mental illness, I think that we said this in our episode last season that I don't think people, especially Black people, have the experience up close and personal with someone that is bipolar and and manic like and I think that the almost gamification. That's the word of the day. I love like everything is a game. But the ways that mental health have become buzzwords where like we've talked about this where everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gaslit," or they are not a what's the word that people love now? Narcissist. Like he's a narcissist, he has
Mhm.
narcissistic tendencies, all that shit. No, fucking you don't. Like there's just some things you don't like about people. Like,
Yeah.
when we're using like DSM-4 type labels for everyday people, like just for whatever, whatever, like
And not for
we
nothing, narcissism is a mental illness. Like what?
so when people started, oh, my boss doesn't like me, they're a narcissist, or like, oh, started using these clinical diagnosis.
Diagnose you.
My Latin, my Spanish is kind of like diagnose the spirit, these clinical labels for everyday shit. I was like, oh, it's about to go to a bad place. You know what
It
I'm saying?
flattens it.
It flattens it, it makes everybody think that everybody has some sort of experience with mental illness. And I think a lot of people do, but I think most people just have experience with the human condition, right? Because mental illness is just extreme things that we I said experience too many times, but things that we're experiencing all the time, right? And I don't know. And I've shared this on here before. I've had to respond to students that were experiencing breakdowns, like mental breakdowns on campus, like coming onto a scene at 3 a.m. and a student is wigging out, and I'm like, okay, trying to, and that's based on the way that people respond to Kanye, that they respond to Britney Spears, that they respond
Mhm.
to a lot of artists.
Mhm.
You can just tell, like, oh, you don't really have you don't have um a reference point to what it really means to have some of these labels. So I mean,
Yeah,
I do believe him too. I think we're gonna hear it in the music if music actually does come out. I think we're gonna hear the Kanye that a lot of people have been wanting. Um, and I'll be interested to see if people come and like change their opinion on him.
I doubt it.
I don't think so either, honestly.
They're not gonna no one's gonna change their opinion. It's interesting that you bring up Britney because I think about that all the time. The way that specifically Black people speak about Britney Spears and the compassion and grace they hold for her
I was gonna
and the
say
empathy and
people
yeah,
love her, right? Which
they love her. I
surprised
mean,
me.
I like Britney. She's, I didn't understand. I liked her. I mean, when she was out, I liked her. Um, it shows me that people are capable of understanding when they want to, or capable of being compassionate and capable of, I guess, disassociating from that
Mm-hmm.
when they want to. And the reason they don't want to for Kanye, I'm not going to speak for anybody, but like there's a reason why you don't want to. And I think that this has the potential, he has the potential to do a lot of good when it comes to how we talk about mental illness, especially in Black men.
Listen, man.
And
Yeah.
my hope for him though is beyond this apology. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing for the greater community?
Yeah, he has to.
Not as like a Black man help, like as far as mental health goes,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Because I've said, like, if I had his money, I'd lock people in a lab, like come up with a medication that doesn't stop my creativity, but
Yeah.
tempers it, like he has the ability to do that.
Or at the very least, right? If it's not taking his money to put into the medical field, at least how can you best amplify your platform or amplify these issues with your platform? And I think about like how um how impactful, not impactful, how much when Kanye was doing his rants, remember that like 2 or 3 year period where at the end of every show he would like 20 minutes, he would just like talk over a beat. I think that Kanye doing that and using the platform that he already has, that people are familiar with him for using to talk about, be more internal. Because he used a lot of those rants to be like, they wouldn't give me this. Jay-Z hates me. They don't know nothing. The fashion industry, they won't let me do this. If he used that platform in the same way, same voice, to say like, I struggled with this, I hurt, this is what hurt me, I took this the wrong way, I said this and I shouldn't, what I really meant is this. I think that could do a world of difference,
Yeah,
especially in this time frame that we're in right now,
yeah,
right? For Black men, for Black people, but really just for like artistry and for common good,
yeah,
as generic as that sounds. I feel like Kanye really holds a lot of that still, and he's still producing a lot of his art. Like he's still like his clothing line is booming. The things that he's doing online are still a reflection of things that he put into fruition 15 years ago when he
yeah.
said, I want to have clothes available online for $20. And he's done it like right now. So he just has a
He's
lot of
he's
power. He has a lot of
he
power.
He's such an important part and has made such a huge shift in culture that to erase him from that is ridiculous. Or to
Yeah.
attempt to minimize that is absolutely ridiculous. And so I hope that people, because of that, people are able to think critically about what's happening and what it is that he's attempting to do rather than the forgive or not forgive. Like what is really happening here? What does
Yeah.
that mean for like society as a whole? What does that mean for the Black community as a whole?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with mentally ill people? Are we
Yeah.
gonna advocate throwing them away?
Right.
Like what are we doing? Like
Mm.
what is the real conversation? I hope that that's what it starts. Um, I doubt it because they're shooting white people in Minneapolis right now. So
Right. And I'll say
you
this
know,
just for everybody that saw the Kanye apology and, just because we know how people work, how their brain works, he's gonna fuck up again.
oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's is a byproduct of the illness. Like he's going to be prepared for it. Yes, that apology is real and it was very real. I think it came from his heart and he meant that. And he's gonna do something that we see as ridiculous next week or the week after because that's just how the conditions work. Like that's how people work, right? And so, and we'll deal with that as it comes. But if we need to put him down and take a break, we'll be able to do that. And if he turns it around and the music is good and he's able to, right some of his wrongs, I think we should be prepared to listen to that too.
I think he's done a lot of damage. I think that he's done a lot of damage to himself. We talk about the trauma and we talk about the whatever. He's this drug use too that's fucked up his brain. There's a lot of stuff that's happening, and
Yeah.
it's not because he's gone so because he's unimaginably wealthy and unimaginably famous. The steps towards healing look very different than it would for you and I. So I'm even gonna take that and scale it when it comes to him. I don't
Yeah.
think it'll be a week 'cause I think it's been about if we think about it, it's been 6 months, I wanna say,
Since what?
since his last public thing.
Something like that. It's been a while. I mean, it's been a
Yeah,
good chunk of time since we've seen him do anything like actively,
yeah,
out of character or damning.
yeah,
But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, because I think an album comes out on Friday, supposedly.
yeah.
So we'll see. We shall
We'll
see.
see.
But thanks, Bossy, for another great episode. I think this
I want
was
to apologize. I wanna
why
apologize
to J.
because
Cole.
I'm tired. No, okay, alright, maybe.
I'm
We'll
playing.
see, February 6th.
I'm playing.
No, I'm really tired, so a lot been going on. I haven't been sleeping. Talk about mental health. I haven't been sleeping, and so I tried to move the recording back, and then when you were like, "Oh, evenings," goes like, "By the evening, I'm not gonna want to do this either." So I did not show up at my best, but I showed up.
You showed up and and it was you were good. We were good. Like you were yourself. I could tell you're a little tired though. Not in what you're saying. I could just your all the your mannerisms and things. But it's all good, man. We show up. We show up. And you did. And I have on a Biggie
I was wondering why you had on
scarf
a it was as an ascot. What's
because
going on over there?
it's just mad cold outside when I went to walk the dog and I never took it off. But all right, y'all, keep finding the truth in the chaos, the clarity in the culture, and the joy in the journey. And we will holla at you next week.
Bye.
Peace.